Welcome to the Desk of Lady Ada.
Woo! Yay! Yes, Monday! Yay, Desk of Lady Ada. It's another Desk of Lady Ada. It's me, the Lady Ada, and this is my desk here. And with me is Mr. Lady Ada, known as Phil, who's on camera control and prop designs. This lovely 555 was placed there. It's an Evil Mad Scientist 555 timer chip, and it watches over us and checks that we're between 1/3 and 2/3 VCC. Thanks, Phil. That's quad cam. We're rocking out. On last episode of Desk of Lady Ada, which was yesterday, what did they miss?
Last time on the Desk of Lady Ada, we milled out a circuit board, and you can watch this on youtube.com/Adafruit, and a couple thousand people already watched it. It was really, really cool. The first time, and only time that I know, that someone did a live broadcast of milling a PCB tester that you made.
And we're going to put together that tester probably tomorrow night. I was going to do it tonight, but then I ended up spending the day learning about Windows code signing, and I actually wrote up a little tutorial about it. So I thought it's probably a good time for me just to, since I just wrote it and it's fresh in my head, go over the tutorial and talk about how to code sign under Windows. If you develop for Windows, you probably know that you have to get a certificate to sign drivers and code. You don't need them to have people install it, but as of Windows 10 or even Windows 8, it gets a little more challenging. Like drivers, you have to turn off code signing, and you can do it, but it's very annoying. And so as of today, we basically have all of our drivers signed. We're still figuring out all the little details. Just making sure it works on every operating system. We have to find somebody with Windows 8.1 or something to try it out on. But it's not actually so bad to code sign drivers and executables once you kind of know the steps and the software to install. And so I thought we'd just go over the tutorial and kind of run through it lightly. I'm not going to download everything because I already installed the software, but I'll kind of point to you where and what you got to do. So let's go to this lovely Windows desktop here. You know it's Windows because there's a Windows sign. Although I guess you could be kind of weird and install this on a Linux computer. There was a Linux Windows manager that looked a lot like Windows 95 I used to run because it was funny.
Xandros?
Huh?
Xandros?
No, this is a very long time ago. It was like FVWM95 or something.
Okay.
This was a very long time ago. Okay, so here's the guide. It's on the learning system. You can just search for how to sign Windows executables, and this is the tutorial. And I'll basically just kind of go through it. I actually basically followed this tutorial by David E. Grayson, who wrote a lot about it. So if you want even more details, I mean, he talks about it's not as step by step, but instead it's talks about RSA and myths and WHQL testing and signing stuff. But I have more screenshots, but he has more detail, so it's trade off depending what you're doing. But I totally checked out that tutorial. I got to give him credit because I pretty much just followed what he did. So you have to install a ton of software to start. And you actually only need 2 utilities or 3, certmanager.exe, inf2cat.exe, and codesign or signtool.exe. However, given that I don't want to host those files and provide them because that's a really good attack vector, I'm going to ask people just to download it from Microsoft, even though you have to download 2.5 gigabytes of software and install it. It's I'm going to put the liability of having the code signing tool on their site because I don't want to distribute something that somebody could turn into malware if they somehow hacks or learn, which I hope they don't. So to start, download the Windows 10 SDK. So you click on this, you get an executable, and you just run the SDK startup. I'm not going to do it because, again, it takes like 20 minutes or so to install all of the software. But you install it into C Program Files Windows Kits 10. I also have 8, but just download 10 because that way it will be able to code sign and run all the code up to it, 10. Or if there's any changes in the future, you have the latest. And then once you do that, you can go into C Program Files x86 Windows Kits 10 bin x86 because that's what I'm running, x86 processor. And in here, you're going to see all sorts of tools. And one of the tools you'll need is Cert Manager. And you'll also want Sign Tool, which is here. And that's the actual signing tool. You'll also need to download the WDK, which is another massive installation thing. And it installs in the same directory. And then after you install that, you get inf2cat, which is a handy, it makes a security catalog for you. So you'll need all 3 tools. But both of them take about 20 minutes to install. So just believe me, you download this and you install it and you're good to go. Next up, you have to buy and download a certificate. So this is where the money comes in. So there is, as far as I can tell, no Let's Encrypt for code signing certificates. You actually have to buy a certificate, and I think it was like $300 or $500, something like that. You buy it. You get it for like 3 years or so, and then you can use it for 3 years to sign any software you want. Ours hasn't expired yet, so I'm saying this with 99% certainty. Once you've signed something, you don't have to re-sign it after the certificate expires, but you won't be able to use that certificate to sign it again. And if it, of course, gets revoked, you do have to re-sign it. So don't, but I don't even know if you can do revocation through Windows. But basically, like as long as you keep your certificate safe, you can sign as much software as you want for 3 years. There's no limit on how many bits you can sign with your certificate. So can you go to just my face for a second?
UCam?
For me, yeah, MeCam. Just because I'm going to.
Do you want me to like block out the screen more?
No. I just don't want. I don't think it'll pop. I don't think it pops up my password, but I just want to make sure it doesn't. And I'm just going to log in. Oh, interesting. SSL failed.
Well, either way.
They can go back to the computer. I didn't know if
sure?
it was. Yeah, it's
just you.
It's
UCam starring you.
Look,
okay.
I gotta be safe. I'm not typing in any password, so you can go to the computer.
All right, I'll go back to the computer.
Okay, so. Oh, is it all let me sign in? Okay, so I bought my certificate from Global Sign. You could probably get certificates from elsewhere, but they have all sorts of certificates. So I have a code signing certificate, and once you place the order, it's been like 2 years since we got the certificate, but I believe they do some basic checking to make sure that you are the company that you say you are. Like they look up like a registration. I think we have to send them our business certificate.
Maybe I think I also got a phone call. A verified phone call?
I think they call the phone number associated with the business.
Yeah, I think I had that.
They do a couple things.
I have to do that a bunch.
It's not a big deal. We also did this with Apple, by the way. And then once you place the order, I don't go through this whole thing because it is actually quite in depth, and of course I'm not going to do that. And there's 2 certificates here because I actually reissued it for the tutorial. But you can reissue the certificate as many times as you want. I think I've got one SHA-1 and one SHA-25, but you basically get a certificate, and then when you order it, so let's go to the tutorial again because I took screenshots. So when you order the certificate, you will you put in all the information like who you are, your name, your phone number, the company, all that stuff to help them identify you. I mean, if you're getting as an individual, maybe they'll ask you to fax them like your driver's license. I don't know. There's levels of authentication they do. And then you basically set up a temporary pickup password, and then they contact the company. So they basically contact the person who made the account, and they give you a link in an email. You click the link, and it takes you back to Global Sign. You put in that temporary password, and then you pick a private key, and this is the private key that with the certificate. So even if you got my certificate PFX file, or you like saw the text on the screen, you can't do anything unless you have the private key, which I'm not going to give you. You know, I don't want you to pretend you're me. But you get this 12-character alphanumeric password. Keep it safe. You download the certificate, and when you download the certificate, you get a file that looks like this, and you can install this certificate. And you type in your password here, which I'm not going to do, but type it in, and then you can mark it as exportable, and that way you can It's a good idea. I actually got bit by this because I didn't make it re-exportable, so I had to reissue the certificate. But it's up to you if you want to make it certified or not. You can also enable strong private key protection, so when you click that, you have to enter in that secret password every time you sign, which is fine. You choose whatever you want to do. Okay, so you put it in your certification manager, and you say finish, and you're basically done. So now you can check out your installed certificate by going to that WDK software, which was Cert Manager, which is installed in the Windows kit. And this will let you know all your certificates, which is actually kind of neat. You can look at all your certificates and your certificate authorities and are they trusted, and I have a late data certificate. I think this is my personal account certificate. And this is the Adafruit certificate. So you can look at it, you can re-export it because this has export capability. You can set permissions. It tells you where is this valid from 2013. That's because I exported it yesterday to 1/7/2017, so about 3 years ago. And then I have a private key, and then there's issuer statements and certification paths. So this is a SHA 256, and it goes back down to global sign. And then the global sign root certificate is good till 2028, so lovely. And that's how you install your certificate. You need a certificate installed. You can self-sign also, but actually, which I found out about later, but I just figured I wanted to have a certificate that had, that was, I think that even if you have self-signed certificates eventually, if you want customers to install the software, I think Microsoft eventually, it's you have to pay for the certificate, just like SSL. Although again, you have Let's Encrypt now, which is sweet. Eventually, maybe they'll do it for code signing as well. Okay, so you've installed your certificate, you check the certificate, it's there, it's good, it's global sign, code signing, all the details. So now you're actually ready to sign a driver. So I'm going to sign a CDC INF, which is a driver, it's basically a driver pointer, it doesn't have, it doesn't have the binary of the driver. Instead, that the binary kernel mode driver is built into Windows kernel, but you do have to point Windows to tell it, hey, this is a CDC device, which it should do automatically, and it does as of Windows 10, but Windows XP and 7 and 8 don't. Not a big deal. Make a new directory on your desktop. I'm going to call this Feather. I'm going to call it Feather. I'm going to basically sign the Feather driver. So let me actually grab the raw. Just make sure that this is the right. Yeah, this is the right one. And you make a directory and just put the INF in there. And here's a key, by the way. Put underscore. Turns out spaces this doesn't work out so great. Put underscores or make it one word. Okay, so this is our INF. And if you have a CDC device, you can take our driver and then you just edit this part down here where you have the VID and the PID set, and you change the name. And this is kind of nice because it does show up as it shows up as it's an Adafruit Feather. So I actually have one plugged in. So let me because I was testing it earlier. Let me uninstall and delete this driver.
For people who go to hugvr/Adafruit, you can see a cat.
There's a cat.
Yeah.
He's wandering around. I could pick him up too.
No, well, I mean,
he's right here. Hey.
All right. Cat break. Cat break.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a cat.
All right, cat break.
Cat break.
Okay.
Let's sign this cat.
Yeah.
Ooh. Cat.inf.
Yeah.
Actually, we will have a cat. We're going to have a cat file soon.
Yeah.
It's named after you. It's the security catalog.
Yeah, part of getting a Windows certificate now means you
need to have a cat.
You actually have to have a cat.
You're so fuzzy. Okay, fuzzy butt.
Yeah.
All right, I think he's traumatized.
Yeah.
Okay, back to...
That'll show you.
That'll show you.
All right.
Okay, so back
Can't break
to
over.
the computer. I'm going to just uninstall.
I mean, he's still around.
Yeah,
so
you can,
he's
on
gonna
VR
go
you
hide.
can watch
He's
him.
hiding behind the green screen.
That's a good place for a cat to hide.
Yeah. Hey, buddy. Yeah.
It's funny, it doesn't. It keeps installing the driver. Okay, now it's finally completely uninstalled. So now when you plug in the Feather, it's like I don't have a driver, and there's the VID and the PID, but it doesn't. Let me unplug my 0, so less confusing. But there's no driver. It's a yellow triangle. It's like, hey, bad, no driver. So this is a driver that we would install. So if you wanted to install the driver now, you could. And I'll show it, but then I won't finish it. You can do this whole deal, and then you browse, and then this is like the weirdest directory finder. I don't know why it's different. But this will say can't verify the publisher. So that's the thing, right? It's not signed, and so don't install. And it says it's not authentic code installed, and so you actually don't get that driver installed. Sad, but we can fix this now because we're going to sign this fancy driver. Okay, so you have to first run inf to cat. Here's the cat to create the security catalog, and that's what you actually signed. So first off, you have to open up a command line, and then you go to the directory. Backspace, Feather. The inf is there. Go back one directory. So this is in the previous directory to where the file is. And then you run this command, which is the inf to cat command. And V, I don't know, verbose. I don't know what V stands for. OS. This tells you all the operating systems that you're installing for. This is, as far as I can tell, just if you put these in, you're good to go. And then driver, you put the directory. And it just says USB source sys is missing. That's fine because it comes with Windows. And basically you're looking for processing infs, signability test complete, catalog generation complete. So now when you look in that directory, you have a new file called CDC Vista. You can keep it that name, but I like to just have it be the same name as the .inf file. So now that you created the catalog, you'll actually sign that catalog file. So what you do is this time you go into that directory, and here's the command you're going to run, and it uses that third tool, which is sign tool, which is in C, program files, Windows Kit 10, bin, x86 sign tool. Sign, V, I don't know, verbose, N, and that's the name of the certificate. And I just say your company here, and I'll show you what happens. And then TR is actually a timestamp service. So you want to put in the matching, actually, I don't know what happens. I just want to go to this URL and see what shows up here.
Okay, side note.
Yeah, what's
do you remember
up?
the name of your desk, the black one?
This is...
The offset. I forgot the name of it. It was heavy.
It was really heavy.
A heavy desk?
It was heavy. It'll come to me in a moment.
Okay. Well, if you remember, great. If not, then.
Yeah, I thought there was a... It's an adjustable desk. This is actually one of my favorite desks. But yeah, it'll come to me in a moment, and I'll look it up. Okay. Anyways, I don't know what this is, but this is some timestamp service. I guess you want to synchronize your time with the certificate. I mean, you kind of have to make sure that the time on the computer is matching the time that it's on the network, so you know when the certificate is valid to and from. TD, I guess this is the type of hash that you're using in the certificate. And then star.cat, that just means the catalog file, whatever it's called, will be what you sign. So it's actually not going to pass because it says no certificates were found for the given criteria. It's because your company name is not a valid name. You have to put in the name that is associated with your certificate. So it says, okay, I found the certificate. Expires 2017. That's that certificate. And it basically signs that file and says, success. You signed a file. So now this file is signed, and what happens if you open it? because I want to go to properties. Okay, so you can look at the digital signatures. Yeah, if you double click on it, it'll give you basically the information about the signature, when it was signed. You can view the signature and like the countersigners, which is global sign. So you've verified that it is in fact signed. And now, when you go to Feather and you update the driver software, you can say, okay, browse to this directory where you have that infcat. Oh, weird, not saying it still can't. That's unusual. That's weird. It would totally was okay before. Okay, I don't know. Figured that out. I'm not sure why it's not installing properly. But the next thing you want to do is make an installer. So if you have this driver, instead of having people do that thing where they right-click to install the file and like it has to go through the directory and find it, you can use NSYS, which is kind of cute. It's the Nullsoft installer, so the people who wrote Winamp, and you install NSYS, and then you can create scripts that install the drivers for you, so that you don't have to have people like figure out, you know, how to right-click and whatever, and to get the little yellow triangle. It kind of like double-click and it does it all for you. So you can, I'm not going to do the details, but you can install the software, and then I had it already installed because I was doing, what was I doing? Windows, sorry, it's one of these folders. Oh yeah, so we were doing all the drivers, so you can have a file that has, basically you use their default and you can tell it, hey, I want you to install all of these drivers when you run the software. And then you put the drivers in all these files, so the inf and the cat go here, and like all these other files go here, and BCP and Circuit Playground, whatever, all the inf and cats go in drivers. And then when you compile the script, it actually creates a lovely little executable for you, like Adafruit drivers, and you can run this, and it says, I don't know who this is by, but do you want to install the software? Just say yes, and then I agree, and then you can install all those drivers automatically, and it does it all for you. And then close. Let's see if this works. I don't know why it was complaining. I'll figure that out. It should have just worked. If you unplug and replug, unless I got the, because I was just programming this, I wonder if I got the, 1 second. I think I might have programmed the wrong bootloader into this. That's weird. That's totally weird. That was totally working.
Can always do a to be continued.
I know, I might have to.
A
Oh, you know what?
cliffhanger.
It might be because there's a rev here and that's missing, so it's not matching up. Because it's really unusual. Usually it installs. Let me try another one. I've unfortunately been this is not original Feather. Okay, my other Feather works. Whatever. That one I just went through a testing run, so I could have installed the bootloader wrong or something.
There's a suggestion. You can go back at the error in the general tab too. Might be a hardware not responding.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, you know what? I have the wrong PID. Shoot. Okay.
People helping people. Look at this.
I'll deal with this later. I think I just have like 5,000 drivers I was doing. I probably just typed in the wrong PID.
There you go.
I will have to fix that later. Don't do what I did. Okay, so you have the driver, the install, but one of the things that you might want to do is say like, okay, you don't want this creepy thing to show up. This is like, I don't know what this is. I'm confused. Well, you can sign this driver as well. the installer for the driver, and that will make it appear all nice and happy. So this just talks about how to do the NSYS installer, and you can have a logo and everything. And then you're going to basically run sign tool again. And put, of course, your name. It's very similar to before. It's basically industries/V, probably for verbose. Name, Adafruit Industries. The timestamp, SHA-256 is the type, and then it's called Adafruit drivers.exe. And then you just put in the exe. And this actually takes a minute to do. Okay, looks like actually happened pretty fast. So after it's signed, the driver, when you double click it, it no longer says unknown. It now says verified publisher. And if you click show details, it will, you can say show information about publisher certificate, and like you can go through that same thing where you look at the global sign certificate and the certificate path and all that good stuff. So it looks like the exe signing went well. I'll look into what I did wrong with the driver. This was totally working great on my Windows computer at work, so I could have had multiple drivers installed on this one.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's all good. Sorry about that. But we signed an exe. That's pretty much it. There's a couple other things that I saw that I don't think is necessary, like having an intermediate certificate. It seems to me like, I managed to sign the exe and it doesn't complain, so I think that's fine. You don't need to like add any more stuff to it. There's also some information about whether to use SHA-256 or SHA-1. So I think, from what I could tell, Windows XP computers and earlier require SHA-1 certificate signs, and Windows XP SP2 and above, I think, can use SHA-256. So just be aware of like which one you're getting. I signed all of the drivers with SHA-256. If I don't know, we'll see what happens if somebody with Windows XP SP2 tries to install them. There's some Windows XP runners, but not that many, and I don't have a computer to test against, so we'll just have to see what happens if somebody comes across and says like, hey, I tried to install this on Windows XP. The good news is Windows XP doesn't care about code signing in general, so it probably will just say like, hey, I couldn't verify the certificate, but do you want to install it anyways? And you can just install anyways. And also like the DP inst that comes with Nullsoft definitely runs on XP. I mean, like that's Nullsoft has been around forever, so as long as they didn't remove any backwards compatibility, I think it should be okay. So we have a program now that installs all the drivers. They're all signed. We're going to basically test it on a bunch of different computers and just see how it goes. But this should make it a lot easier for people who want to use Gemma, Flora, Feather M0, especially the Windows 10 people, because they do need code signing.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it. It's like 20 minutes. You could sign your own stuff. You need like $350.
Yeah, gotta do it.
And fax some paperwork, and you can sign drivers and executables.
Yep. I think it's part of, I'll go here so there's not just a floating voice. Well, I think that if you're going to serve a community that maybe grows larger to an audience, the expectation is you might have signed drivers. So there's a way for the end user to install it, because some people's computers are locked down, or they'll get warning messages, or they'll just need to be reassured that the software is coming from Adafruit.
I mean, I'm assuming eventually you will not be able to run executables that aren't signed. But honestly, like, it's not so hard. If you're developing software, you probably should be signing the executables.
Yeah, you'll be able to. Probably, like on a Mac, for instance, if you install something that's not a publisher, you have to go to your settings and say, I install anything, including not the Mac App Store. And it's becoming more and more restrictive. I think as people want more security, eventually they'll want to know, did this software that I'm installing that comes with hardware from Adafruit, is that really from Adafruit? Because I trust Adafruit. I don't trust other companies or other things. I trust Adafruit,
like you're double clicking something and installing it. You want to know who it's from. So I understand where they're coming from. That's why I'm not like, I don't have a problem with it. I'm not like, screw the man, like I'm not going to buy a certificate. I'm like, no, this is actually probably a pretty good idea, and for us, it's an investment. We get a VID from the USB.
Yeah. The expectation is that we do it. We also sell to schools. Schools want to know it's the real deal, and
companies,
we sell to government. We sell to nonprofits. We sell to people who have some level of security that they need in their organization. Doesn't always work, but they're trying.
Yeah. And meanwhile, it also makes it a lot easier for customers on the end. So I think, as DIYers and makers become more professional, this Maker Pro group, they're going to have to do this. If you buy this Othermill, the software has to be signed.
It does, because it has to be installed.
It has to be installed.
And this stuff is operating on some of the lowest levels of your computer. It could. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, anything you plug into a USB port and data can be taken, used, software can be installed, everything auto-updates, everything's Internet of Things. I'd really like to know what's going on, and at least a signed certificate is one other way. It's not the only way, but it's one other way to know that this camera that I'm plugging in really comes from this company or whatever.
All right.
Matters.
Okay. Well, are there any other questions? I can answer them. It's getting late.
Someone wanted to know, how do you, what do you have to do to get an authentic PID? You have to purchase one from.
You have to buy them from the USB forum.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get a full block. You get 65,536 of them.
Yeah.
Well,
here's a comment. Actually, I'm going to go and I'm going to try this new little thing that I'm working on.
Okay, try this new thing.
Yeah, I'm going to try this. So this is some of the chat from Twitch.
Yeah.
So this is Executables, says I throw around Adafruit at work, and when people need certain things, so a signed software definitely makes it easier to get Adafruit software approved to be installed on our machines.
Yeah,
so a lot of people don't have the choice of what is installed on our machine.
Yeah, if
they have
their
to
IT
request
group
it.
has to. Yeah, if IT has to do it, and IT is like, what's this unknown?
Yeah.
They're not so into it.
Yeah, and then so that was Twitch chat. In the YouTube chat, someone wanted to know PID codes, how to. Well, we haven't needed to purchase another PID, but next time we do, maybe we'll have a tutorial on that.
You pretty much just email the USB interface form. There's like a little clicky thing, and you just enter in some data. There isn't as much certification. There's also a couple groups that are selling individual or giving away individual ones, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
There's like an open source PID person, somebody who bought one, and they're just giving them away.
Yeah, there's another one in another country. According to the terms of service, they could resell them.
Yeah.
It's a little complicated.
You can also buy MAC addresses. We bought a block of MAC addresses for our Bluefruit module, so that's another thing. Like some of these IDs, you have to buy them.
And other level of things that you may want to consider down the road. If you get a VID, make sure it's maybe your company name, and your company name is trademarked, and you can do that yourself. You can also have a firm do it, because there was a case a long time ago that was interesting when Palm was competing with the iPod. Mm-hmm. One of the things it did was it had music on the Palm, and they decided to call it Apple. So when you plugged in your Palm, it reported itself being Apple. And Apple said, you can't do that because you're tricking the computer. And Apple was trademarked, and they were squatting on the PID.
It's a cool idea, though.
And it was neat because
it pretended to be an iPod, basically.
Yeah, and that was one of the ways they were being sneaky. So it was interesting, and I don't remember the outcome. I think they just dropped it. I think Palm agreed to stop doing it. But it got in the news, and it was one of the few times that PID, VID, and the way computers were identifying themselves briefly got discussed. Yeah. in a legal fashion.
Yeah. No, it's very interesting because and of course that finding. I actually want to look that up because I want to see what.
I don't even know how you would look that up right now. I mean,
they're not even around.
It
was in 2009. Palm is spoofing the Apple.
Yeah. Do you want me to go to your computer?
No. I mean, yeah, sure. Palm spoofs Apple USB vendor ID, files complaint. You can see it over here for misuse. So they basically spoofed the vendor ID to present as an iPod, and because they apparently they use that to filter it out, and Apple. This is 2009. So this is a very long time ago. But they totally lost this. But then. let's see. I think they actually went to Corp. I don't know, but
but
what's interesting is that this ended up being Palm definitely lost. I don't know if they went to court or whether they.
I think they dropped it.
I think they just dropped it.
They were using Apple's purchased name, and it's a trademark.
It's a bad scene, but then when the Arduino.org/cc fight broke out, like part of it was over the VID PID, like who owns it is using somebody else's VID. You know what I mean? Like it gets complicated.
I just think it's funny. I mean, like, this was a good try, Palm. Like, that's pretty cool. That's a good idea.
That's a hacky idea. I like
you know what's funny? It wasn't just like kind of a hack workaround. They actually like deployed. They're like, whoop, here we go.
Whatever. I mean, this is 2009.
Just call it an Apple. This is like, I don't know.
This was their last shot, though. They were like,
they like them apples. Yeah.
We got to try. We got to try this 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really ballsy.
Anyways.
They're a very interesting case.
All right.
Fight.
Okay, that's a little bit of history. You don't always think you're going to learn something on the Desk of Lady Ada.
Desk of Lady Ada weeks.
You learn a little bit of everything.
We do a deep dive into electronics and maker history.
All right, so tune in Wednesday. We've got Show and Tell, and we've got Ask an Engineer, 7:30 p.m.
7:30 Eastern Time.
Yeah, 7:30 p.m. 7:30 p.m. time.
New York time.
And our clocks will say
Manhattan.
7:30 p.m. Time. And then is it okay just say Eastern time?
I just say Eastern time because it's not Eastern Standard or Eastern Daylight. I don't remember. I never freaking remember which one is which. So it's just Eastern time.
And then there's Ask an Engineer at 8 p.m. And then there's 3D Hangouts on Thursday. And we have a variety of other shows.
We might even have another stream tomorrow. Maybe I'll put together this.
You never know. And thank you everyone out there who supports the shows and all that. We're only supported by the viewers out there. For like another hour, there's that code Pi Day. I think we
Pi Day, that's right. Yeah. It's Pi Day 314, so you can get 10%. 10% off anything in the store, including Raspberry Pi 3s, which I think we have in stock.
We did. I think we ran out.
Some
folks got some Pi Zeros, even with 10% off.
Jeez.
That was painful. Yeah.
Well, it's only 50 cents though.
But we're
making negative $8.
We're making negative $8. So, anyways, thanks for your orders. That's what keeps us going. We'll keep doing this as long as we can afford it. So, thanks.
Yeah, look at all these cameras we got.
Yeah.
I like the chat. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's
We're gonna do even more with video cameras.
Yeah, playing around with this stuff.
All right, I'm gonna figure out why I got the wrong PID because clearly I need a tutorial on how to keep track of your PIDs, and then I'll get screenshots of the driver signing working.
Oh, okay.
So that's all good. I'll figure something out. Maybe I also could have had a typo in my tutorial.
All right. See y'all later.
All good.
Boom.
Keep signing.